Hi, I'm Brian Hollock from North Point Shooting Center. What we're going to talk today about is IDPA and the use of cover. Now, for those of you familiar with IDPA, the targets behind me should look familiar. What we have is basically the IDPA classifier setup. But for each of the targets, targets 1, target 2, and target 3, what we've done is we've set some strings basically lining up with that target's line of sight. On the IDPA classifier, there's a spot where you have to go to a barrel and shoot from around low cover. There's actually 2 strings of fire in the 3rd stage of the classifier where you have to do this. This is one of the areas where I see many shooters make unnecessary cover calls because they end up sticking a knee or an elbow out when they really shouldn't. Now, what we're going to do here is hopefully visualize what is happening so that you can get it from the safety officer's perspective. Now let's look at the problem that we have in front of us. This is stage 3 of the IDPA classifier. As you can see, we have targets 1 through 3 laid out in front of us. Each target has a string going directly from its line of sight to the ground. Now, if we were a right-handed shooter, we would be engaging from around right side cover. Now, the first target we engage would be target 3 because we're going to be slicing the pie and coming around target 3. Now, look where the string actually lands on the ground. As I reorient the camera to be directly behind the barrel, you'll see that target 3 actually has a pretty good view of at least 1/3 of the barrel. Now, conventional wisdom is that we plant our right knee down to go around right side cover. Now, it's typical for me to see shooters line up that knee with the exact edge of the barrel. But as you can see, target 3 actually has an angled view of me from this perspective. What that means is I'm going to have to push in at least to this middle third of the barrel in order to be behind target 3's line of sight. Now, as you recall, the rule on shooting from low cover is 50% of your upper body must be behind cover, but 100% of your lower body must be behind cover. So in this situation, we've got to get 100% of our body behind this red line in order not to be out of cover and potentially in danger of being hit by target 3. So in order to plant the right side leg down, we can't be this far out, or we're in danger of being hit. So you need to get somewhere in this area of the barrel. Now, some of you don't like to crowd cover. And while that's a good technique, understand that the angle becomes even more pronounced the farther back you get. So if I was to step back from the barrel, I would actually have to be probably around the left 50% of the barrel. So if I'm going to step in to cover, I'm going to be probably here. And then I can engage target 3. Now, some of you will actually plant the other foot down. While this is not conventional wisdom, it is something we have to plan for. Now, the problem here is some of you cannot control your knee radiating out. And this is going to be a problem. So if you're going to plant the right foot down as opposed to the right knee, I would suggest being in line with the middle of the barrel and really controlling where the knee goes. If it edges out here and you engage target 3, you're looking at a potential cover call. Now, for those of you at home who practice IDPA on a regular basis, you can simulate this experiment as well with a couple of dollars worth of red and blue and green yarn. Another way of doing it, though, is to lay out some tape along the top of the barrel. Now, what this will do is give you some reference marks to use when you're lining yourself up and planting your knee. Here we have the middle third of the barrel marked off. What that does is that allows me to have a visual cue of where my lower body needs to be and still be behind cover. Now let's look at target 1. Probably the most difficult target to engage from around right side cover. As you can see, when the string lays out, you have an angle that's pretty far here on the barrel. What that means is you can either edge out and still be behind cover, or try to find a location when you initially go to your knee that allows you to arc your body to hit all 3 targets. This can be difficult for those of you out there that have knee problems like me, but it's something that you ought to look at. Remember, here we are going to have a little bit more forgiveness as far as our lower body is concerned, but it's not going to be as comfortable. So, if we look at the angle on target 1, if we came down here and we're able to stay and keep our lower body behind cover, then we need to be about this far out and still maintain our position behind the barrel and engage all 3 targets at the same time. As I said earlier, if you look, I'm behind the middle third of the barrel. This is important for the SOs as well. This gives you a visual cue as to how far back the shooter is in relation to the barrel. So, it is possible to engage all 3 targets by planting my knee in a single location. But I've got to plant that knee such that I'm not going to expose myself to T3. Now, a word of caution. For those of you who have lower back pain or knee problems, remember, take that extra step. You have space here from T3 to T2 and space here from T2 to T1. Just edge that out, take those extra steps, take those extra seconds. Safety is always first. If you end up hurting yourself and spilling out from outside of cover, it'll have disastrous effects, both in real life and in IDPA. We're not here trying to hurt ourselves, we're trying to have fun. So, safety is always first. If you can't perform this technique like the younger limber guys do, don't worry about it, just have fun, know your own limitations. So here's what I mean by edging out. Here I planted my knee and I'm behind cover so I can engage T3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to engage T3, then I'm going to edge out this far to engage T2. Then I'm going to edge out this far to engage T1. This is more comfortable and it's safer, especially if you have lower back problems or knee issues. So consider taking those extra steps and not hurting yourself. It's going to cost you a few seconds, but it's going to be far safer in the long run. Now it's your turn to play safety officer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot string 3 of stage 3 of the IDPA classifier. And your job is to watch my lower body and make sure that I'm not in danger of being in a cover call. Now, as we set up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see where the middle third of the barrel is and make sure that my right foot doesn't go to the right of that. That way I know that if I plant my right knee down straight ahead, I'm going to actually be in the middle third of the barrel and not in danger of exposing myself to target 3. I hope we've given you a better perspective on the challenges you're going to face when shooting from around low cover. Remember, some of these angles are hard to spot from your perspective, so consider having a friend spot you either from the position of the SO or, better yet, downrange from the position of the target. If your friend can see a foot or an ankle, the bad guy could too. It's important in IDPA because you could get a cover call. It's very important in real life because it could get you killed. I hope we've also given you a better perspective on the job of the SO. Remember, the next time you get that cover call, they probably saw something that you didn't. So on that next stage you shoot, be sure to give your SO a thanks. Remember, we can't shoot IDPA without them. Lastly, I hope you also are considering taking a defensive firearms class. Good firearms instruction is going to include work from around cover, both low cover, high kneeling, low kneeling, and a work around barricades. These are important skills, and cover in competition is very different than cover in real life. It's important for you to know the distinction, especially if you carry a gun for your own personal protection. Until next time, this is Brian Hollock from North Point Shooting Center. Thanks for watching.